Hi, this is Ben Stevenson from JourneyToTheCloud.com, a GreenPages technology solutions blog, and we're here for our first segment of a new video series called Cloud Corner. The point of this series is to share news, updates, insights, and opinions, and hopefully spark some decent conversation along the way. You can follow us on Twitter. Our handle is @GreenPagesIT. For today's first show, we're going to give a quick rundown of some recent news updates that you don't want to miss out on. We're going to bring on Chris Ward, special guest, GreenPages Vice President of Consulting and Integration, to talk virtualization. And then we're going to close with some blogs that we recommend that you check out, some useful resources. So to start things off, some recent news stories that are important that you don't miss out on. Facebook buys the widely popular photo sharing app Instagram for roughly $1 billion. Instagram only had 9 employees on the staff before it was bought. The U.S. has accused Apple and 5 other of the nation's largest publishers of conspiring to raise ebook prices. The Attorney General believes that as a result of the alleged conspiracy, consumers paid millions of dollars more for popular titles. According to a new IDG Enterprise Cloud Computing study of over 1,600 IT and business executives, more than a third of their current IT budgets are now allocated to cloud computing solutions. Gartner is forecasting that by the end of 2016, there will be 665 million media tablets in use around the world. Of these 665 million, over 45% will be iPad devices. A Google data center in Taiwan is to use a thermal storage system. According to Google, the data center should be one of the most efficient and environmentally friendly data centers in Asia. It should cost around $300 million to build, and Google hopes it'll be live by the second half of 2013. The hacker group Anonymous supposedly wants to take down the Great Firewall of China. The group has been hacking into hundreds of Chinese sites and has declared the Great Firewall as its next target. More Gartner figures released recently predict that global spending on software as a service will grow from 17.9% this year to $14.5 billion. Next, we'd like to bring on Chris Ward, our Vice President of Consulting and Integration, to talk virtualization. Our guest here today is Chris Ward, Vice President of Consulting and Integration at GreenPages Technology Solutions, an expert in virtualization. How are you today, Chris?
Fantastic. Yourself?
Great. So we're going to do a deep dive into virtualization, get Chris's opinion, pick his brain a little bit. So to start off, Chris, could you just give us a brief overview of what virtualization is, what the different types of virtualization include, etc.?
Sure. So basically virtualization, think of it as an abstraction layer, right? The most popular type of virtualization out there is server virtualization, which is basically ungluing the operating system from the underlying physical hardware. But there are several other types as well, including application virtualization, which takes that a step further and unglues the application from the operating system. You've also got overall desktop virtualization, which is basically remote access into a desktop environment and essentially hosted desktop environment. And then you've got storage and network virtualization on top of that. So there are many, many facets.
Great. Why is virtualization important for organizations? What are some of the key benefits organizations get out of virtualizing their environment?
I think the first and most important benefit is really cost savings. Server virtualization really brought that to the table initially, and really consolidation. So if you have a data center where you've got, say, a couple of hundred servers today, the physical servers eating up a lot of power, a lot of cooling and so forth, you can consolidate that down to maybe a group these days of maybe 10 to 15 physical servers rather than 200. So massive savings there. Likewise, we're seeing a similar scalability advantages and cost advantages on storage virtualization, network virtualization, and so forth.
So leading into our next question, how much should companies be virtualizing?
It's a little bit of an open-ended question. There are companies today that really run the gamut. Here at GreenPages, we're pretty much 100% virtualized, and so that is certainly possible these days with the hardware and the capabilities of the software that is on the market. Other larger enterprise-style organizations are typically in the anywhere from as low as 20% all the way up to 70, 80%. And so forth. But the key with that is the higher percentage virtualized you get, the more cost savings you have. But likewise, you also have to start thinking about layering on other management and automation tools on top of that when you get into that 80, 90% and above range to really get the full advantage of the virtual stack.
What do you see a little bit down the road in the future for virtualization?
There's a lot that's coming down right now. We're very focused on kind of looking into the next maybe 18 to 24 out to 36 months currently, and really the key driver there is all around the monitoring and management and automation. So the cloud, the evil word cloud kind of comes to mind there, right? So what my definition of cloud is it's really kind of a four-pillar stool. So your virtualization is an absolute have-to-have at the bottom, but you also have to monitor that environment, and then above that you've got to be able to manage it so you can make changes based upon what the monitoring tool tells you. And then at the end of the day, we really don't want to have to make those changes at 3 a.m. So automation is the fourth pillar, and that really allows the system to somewhat self-regulate, self-heal, and make a lot of those changes for us without us having to physically be at a keyboard.
Great. Well, thanks a lot for joining us, Chris. This is Chris Ward from GreenPages Technology Solutions, also a regular contributor to JourneyToTheCloud.com, a cloud computing blog that GreenPages sponsors.
Absolutely. Thank you.
To close this first segment out, we'd like to provide 5 blogs we recommend you check out that maybe you haven't heard of yet. The first being CloudCommons.com. Cloud Commons is a CA-sponsored site. It provides great content from a variety of different thought-leading bloggers. But more than a blog, it's also a community. It hosts live Twitter chats, which we've been lucky enough to participate on several already. And it's been great, just a lot of good conversation, a lot of good dialogue with different thought leaders in the cloud space. They also have other resources available as well as their Cloud Luminary site. The second blog we'd like to recommend is CloudTweaks.com. CloudTweaks is constantly pushing out fresh content, and it's always really good. It seems like more and more people are sharing and talking about CloudTweaks articles. It definitely seems like it's up and coming. They also, along with the solid blog posts, also provide infographics, historical timelines, even cartoons, and other visual representations that are nice to take in. The third site is Enterprise CIO Forum, which is an HP sponsored site. It obviously has the blog posts from thought leaders, but more importantly, it has a quick post section where anyone can go on and post a blog. They can just post a thought, another article that they found interesting. And the best thing about the site is the amount of discussion that it generates. There's constantly people on there commenting, and it's not just on the top couple blogs, it's all the way through. So the entire quick post section, most of those are getting a great string of back and forth conversation with thought leaders. The next blog we'd like to recommend is rickscloud.com. Rick is a CTO in Boston, and it's good to get his insight because he is a CIO, or CTO rather. So it's an insider's perspective of someone who's actually making these decisions and who's experiencing this IT transformation firsthand. He obviously doesn't post as much as the other blogs because he is a CTO, but when he does post, it's always great stuff, and it's worth checking out. And finally, the last blog we'd like to recommend for you to check out is Tom's IT Pro. And again, this is just another quality blog that posts frequently about a variety of topics, again, from a variety of different contributors. So that wraps up our first episode. So thank you for joining us here at Cloud Corner. Tune in next time. Hopefully we'll have another episode out soon. In the meantime, remember to check us out at www.journeytothecloud.com, as well as follow us on Twitter. Our handle is @GreenPagesIT. Thanks.